Hello viewers, here is a Lasko box fan. This is model unknown, does not say. So Tori, I'm going to need your help on this one. What's the model number of this one? It's got the plastic, the plastic motor. Anyways, there is this information on here, which dates it back to 1989, and there's that information, which is very glary. Can't get a good view of it. Okay, well, it says E20739 Type 1 Style SLSS, and it's 2.2 amps. There is slots for feet, so I guess these would have come with feet at some point. I think they're heavy enough that they don't really need it. But anyways, it has a polarized plug. This does run, however we're going to have a challenge with the servicing of this because the blade is stuck on, and when it comes to these plastic motors you have to be very careful with the blade and getting it off because the motor can break. So I'm going to begin by removing the guards, and then we'll see what we're going to do from there. Apparently the guard has been tied to the motor's support, which is odd. I don't think I've ever seen that before. So now I've got to figure out how to get this off of here. I really cannot fathom why they would have done that, unless maybe it was rattling or something. I don't know. Okay, that has been removed. And well, I suppose this could be original. I have my suspicions that whoever added the string may have added these metal pieces here. Very flimsy metal, whatever it is. There's one more down at the bottom. It just seems kind of sloppy to be factory. Maybe it was, I don't know. These were cheap fans after all. Now the predicament here is that the blade is... it's really stuck on there. And I'm not comfortable pulling it any harder than that because you'll break the motor shells. So what I'm going to try to do is remove the motor, split the motor in half. Now here's an interesting item of curiosity. It looks like one of these screws is missing, so I always wonder if this has been tampered with at some point in its life. And I don't think that these... oh yeah, this screw does go through all the way, so you know what, maybe not. I guess 1, 2, 3, that would make sense. Maybe there isn't supposed to be a screw there. Okay, scratch my original statement. I don't think it's been tampered with anymore. That's not the right size. Gotta get the right size. Oh, daggone it. These don't have the hole in it, so those aren't even going to work. Okay, let's see if I can come up with something else. This is kind of overkill, but we're going to have to use this. And that's too big. Okay, it's not a 3/8, I thought it was. I think it's going to be metric because an 11/32 doesn't quite fit it. But I don't think it's tight enough that it's really going to strip out. Oh, for heaven's sakes, that doesn't fit on here. Okay, one more break. Okay, here we go. What does this take, 3 or 4 now? Okay, so the motor should now be ready to split apart. At least that's my hope. I don't think these other screws go through it all the way. So let's see if I can pull it off now. Well, it's still not wanting to come. I don't know. Oh, maybe it's because this is kind of stuck in there still. I want to... Oh, I see what the problem is. There's another set of bolts. Okay. It's got to come off more than I thought it would to do this. We have to get under these 2 bottom ones is another bolt. So I'm going to have to take it off of here. And that may be the 3/8. Nope. Is it the same size? Oh, it is the same size. It looks bigger for some reason. I guess it's just an optical illusion. Or it's not optical, it's just an illusion. Okay. And that there, this bolt and that bolt, is why it was not coming off. Okay, now, there we go, that's what I wanted. This I'm just going to lay down here like this. And now we can be a little more aggressive with this. But without having to be so concerned about the plastic breaking. There's a clip in there, which I don't think is the source of the problem. But the purpose of that clip is to make it a little bit tighter on the shaft. So I'm going to try to remove that clip. And try will be the key operand here because it's going to be very difficult. let's try a different one. Okay, that's probably not going to happen. Alright, I'm going to have to figure out how to get this off of here. Unfortunately, there's no way to grab it. You can't use the puller because the shaft isn't exposed on the other side. And, yeah, this is just going to be really challenging. I got it off. What I ended up doing was I put the rotor into a vise, and then I just pulled the blade off because the blade can take a bit of abuse. So I just kind of forced the blade off and it came off okay. And the motor housing, which is what I'm concerned about breaking, is fine. So now this shaft is kind of dirty, so what we're going to do is we're going to put the motor back together so that I can clean the shaft without spending an outrageous amount of time doing so. I'm just going to go hand tight for now, that'll suffice. I'm only going to have it running for 45 seconds or so. It's not going to come loose. Okay. Get this thing plugged up. Okay. So let's begin the cleaning. Put a little bit of non-Fian oil onto the shaft. And I think I'm going to have to sand it because it's not, yeah, there's a lot of junk on there, whatever that is. I'm going to go ahead and sand it. Probably just with the fine sandpaper, I think that'll be sufficient. Okay, there's that nice clean surface I was looking for. So we're ready to proceed. Oops, there goes the airflow tester. Okay, so now I'm going to take this back apart and we should be able to slide the front bearing right off the shaft, and then we can clean and oil both the bearings. And I think the cleaning of the plastic components I'm going to leave until tomorrow because it's getting late and I'm getting tired. So this should... Jeez, it's hot already. So these Marco motors, they run hot. Beautiful. Okay. So that's off of there. Let's see here. I don't think... Yeah, this does need to come off because it's dirty. Oh, it's got this weird thing on the wires. I guess it's not going to come off. Okay, well, I'll just have to clean it with compressed air instead. And actually, I'm seeing something that's potentially very terrible. This, I don't think a screw passes through that particular hole, otherwise we already would have had a problem. But there is a wire, a winding wire that's going right over that hole. That's outrageous. That's definitely going to have to get corrected before I put this back together. This has been cleaned, although I'm seeing something I don't like. And that is the fact that there's so many loose wires in here. And I wonder if that contributes... All these are loose. I wonder if that contributes to these things blowing up. Because what happens is, if this is vibrating, okay, over years and years of vibrating like this, the insulation can wear off the wires and then it shorts out. So I'm thinking that perhaps, even like on the edge of the winding here, all these wires are loose. I'm thinking this should be revarnished. I'm not going to do that this time around because that's got to be done outside and it's cold out. But in the future I may revarnish this and see if that helps prolong the life at all. Okay, it's the next day and some of these things are not relevant to this project. Okay, put that away. Alright, so now that's not relevant. Now we will clean the motor first, and then I will clean the plastic components. Normally for the motors I would use a new towel, but because there's a run on to your towels right now, I'm just going to use the same one that I used last time. This motor was running okay, so I don't think there's too much to be done on the motor other than oiling it. Actually, that was substantially dirty. Huh, that's surprising. Okay, that's all clean. So let's see here. put some oil. Actually, this one is pretty easy to service because both bearings are open. So I'll put some oil in there, put some oil on here, and slide this into place. It's spinning fairly nicely. Now I'll put some oil onto the front. And there's a little tab here. It's on both sides of the motor. Should zoom this in. And a little tab there, and the tab here. I'm going to align that so it's in the same position on both sides. And it's already closed up, so that's fine. And now put the 3 bolts through here. And I think the nuts are going to go on these two. And you can't put these very tight because you'll end up breaking the plastic. This has to be done with a considerable amount of care. And I'm only going to go hand tight on these. Okay. And now this one, actually I guess this could go in now. Doesn't really matter. And it's already spinning relatively freely. Normally I would strike the shaft to get it aligned. I'm going to do it very, very gently this time because of the plastic housing. And I'm going to add some more oil up on the front here. Clean off any excess oil, and I'm going to put some more. Actually, there really is enough oil in the back, I can see it. Starting to spin pretty well. It's not quite, I don't think it's quite aligned though. I guess that's as good as it's going to get. Okay. So now what I want to do is remove the blade, or not the blade, remove the motor and the rest of the wiring from the case so that I can wash it. And I think that's going to be fairly simple. It should just be a matter of removing the switch. Of course, removing the switch may be kind of a difficult thing to do. Well, perhaps not. Looks like it's just held in by these 2 tabs here, so I'm going to push that through, and actually that was quite easy. Okay. So now this should be ready to come off of here. Okay, great. So I'm going to leave the motor down here for the time being, and I'm going to take all these other components. We'll take the case and the guards and the blade and the knob, and I will go wash all of those things upstairs. Okay, everything is clean now, and I'm noticing that this blade, while not to the point of unusability, is starting to misshapen. Took some time, but this all cleaned up really nice. So, let's begin reassembly. Cabinet cleaned up okay. The sides are really nice. Top has some rust on it. There's a problem with the badge. I think I'd have to take it all the way off and straighten it and then put it back on. I'm not sure. Oh, you know what? Since it is coming off, I guess I'll just do that. I thought it was stuck on there pretty good, but inherently it's not. And you still can't see it. Okay, I tried. Yeah, I'll just pull this off, and then I'll have to straighten it out after I get it off. Okay. So I'll fix that, and then I'll put that back on, but I'll deal with that later. Because I can put that back on afterwards, after everything's assembled. So let's get the motor attached first. So I believe this will go through here, and then it's going to sit like this. And then we have two, oh, there we go. Yeah, these that go in here. And these are just threading into plastic, which I don't really like, because these are at the top, so those are taking most of the force. And then on the bottom we have these bolts, which are threading up against metal. So I think I'm going to tighten these more than the top ones, so that, whoops, so that these can take most of the weight. Uh-oh. And this one's already stripped out, I think. Yep, that's already stripped out. Okay. Now, the switch can go back in. That didn't break like the new ones usually do. Nope. The wires is supposed to go like this, I think. Okay, and this will sit in here like this. I guess I will put... What's the problem here? I guess we can work from the other side and make more sense. I will put these metal pieces back on. Well, I really wonder if these are supposed to be there or not. I don't know. I mean, they work just as well as anything else would, so I'll use them. Okay, this has a copious amount of slack at the bottom. Oh, I see why, because it's supposed to be more like that. Still extra slack. I guess that's okay. Alright, that's that. I will power it up just to make sure the motor is okay. Appears to be okay. Now, since the blade was so stuck on before, I'm going to put some oil on the shaft in hopes that it'll come off a little easier next time. Not a copious amount, because then it'll spray everywhere. That's a little more than I really wanted. Okay, why am I having such a hard time with that? Already seems to be going on there way too stiff. Do not want to end up with that disaster again. Let's see here, what can I do about this? Could remove that clip thing, although I really don't think that these make much of a difference. I'll take it off. This one seems to be very tight. That really made a difference, but maybe it did. No, it's still very, very tight. Well, I could file down the shaft a little bit, I suppose. Maybe I'll do that. I'll sand the shaft down a little bit. I'll get out the coarse sandpaper, which I I'm just going to sand it down a bit. Now we got to be careful not to go too much because that's irreversible, but it definitely needs to go down a little bit because it's going to get stuck on here all the time. Okay, I think that's satisfactory. I'm going to put this clip back on, but what I want to do is try to loosen it a little bit. There we go, that's pretty loose now. This is a solid piece of plastic. There's no slit in it or anything anywhere, so that's why I don't think that really makes any difference, but I don't know. Probably wouldn't have put it there if it didn't make any difference. There we go. I'm fairly happy with how that fits on her now. It's still pretty tight, but it's not enough to really get stuck on there. Bearings seem pretty happy. Okay. Seems to be relatively balanced too, so we're going to leave that alone. Before I put the guards back on, I do want to show one element of quality that's found in this fan. These holes, they actually took the time to file off the shaving that was left over from when it was drilled on both sides. It's a completely flat, safe surface. You don't find that on the new ones. In the new ones, there's a big shard of metal there. It's dangerous. That's got to get fixed. So I'm going to take some Doxit, and this stuff is outrageously expensive, but it works. It works very well. I'm going to spray this into here to the switch. I don't know if I can get this set up. Okay. There we go. Hopefully if I put it right in here, it'll kind of go into where it needs to go. It's getting better. There we go. Squeak is gone. Okay, all that's left is to glue on the logo again. I gotta wait for the hot glue to warm up and then we'll put that on. I guess there was enough stickiness left on the label as I put it on there, and it's fine, so it's not exactly centered, but you know, you can't ask for everything to be perfect. Alright, let's go ahead and give this a final test run. Really looks great. The grills are still white, which is pretty uncommon. The cabinet could use a repaint, but it's not that bad. Even the handle is still white. No broken slats either, not a single one. The only defect is a little crack up there, which I probably could glue and make it a little less obvious. Let's start off with low. Jeez. It moves a lot of air. A lot of people knock these fans, and I don't know why, because although they were cheap, they were decent. Good amount of air coming out of there. I don't think this has much of a startup sound, but I'll see if I can capture what it has. Here's high. There appears to be some kind of a buzzing to it. That may also be fixed by a revarnish. Here's medium. Yeah, the bearings are definitely happy. And here's low.